Today we share the classic A Christmas Carol from England, told and retold across generations. Long ago in foggy London, there lived a moneylender named Scrooge, who kept his heart shut tight. He liked cold rooms, cold coins, and keeping people at a distance. His clerk, Bob Cratchit, worked hard beside a tiny fire, dreaming of warmth for his family. Among the chill streets and smoky bells, Scrooge felt no joy for Christmas, no kindness for neighbors, and no wish to share. Yet stories remind us people can change when their hearts open to others. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, where are you listening from, and what's it like there today? Is it feeling festive, or maybe a little chilly? On Christmas Eve, Scrooge's cheerful nephew invited him to dinner, and kind men asked help for the poor, but Scrooge sent them away and grumbled that Christmas was a bother. Night fell. Scrooge ate his simple supper and went home to rooms once shared by his old partner, Marley. As he reached the door, the brass knocker seemed to glow into Marley's face, then turned plain again. Scrooge shook it off, lit a candle, and checked every room, the sitting room, the bedroom, and the lumber room. All was as usual, except for a strange bell that began to swing. Soon every bell rang, and a heavy clanking of chains rose from below. The cellar door boomed open. Footsteps climbed the stairs, and through the locked door drifted a pale figure with a long chain made of keys, ledger books, and money boxes. It was Marley's ghost. The flame leaped as if to say, "I know him," and then sank low, while Scrooge stared, trembling but stubborn. Marley spoke with a voice that chilled the room. He said he wore the chain he forged in life, link by link, because he cared only for profit and not for people. He warned Scrooge, kindness and mercy are our true business. Marley had come to help. 3 spirits would visit, offering Scrooge a chance to change his path. Scrooge begged for comfort, but Marley could not give it. The window flew open, and night air filled with wandering spirits who wished to do good but could not. Their chains rattled softly as they drifted away. Scrooge, shaken and weary, checked the door bolts, stumbled to bed without undressing, and fell asleep at once, the bells and clanking fading into heavy silence. When the church bell tolled 1, a soft light filled Scrooge's room, and the curtains drew back. A gentle figure stood there, the spirit of Christmas past, looking like a child and an old person at once, with a bright light shining from its head and a holly sprig in hand. "Rise and walk with me," it said. With a touch, they passed through the wall and stood on a snowy country road. Scrooge gasped, recognizing his childhood home and the smells and sounds long forgotten. The spirit led him to a lonely schoolroom where a small boy, Scrooge himself, read by a tiny fire. Scrooge watched, eyes wet, remembering how often he had been left there when others went home for the holidays. The scene shifted. A little girl, his sister Fawn, burst into the schoolroom, laughing and hugging the lonely boy, telling him he could come home for good. Then years rolled forward to a lively warehouse where kind Mr. Fezziwig clapped and called for music. Lamps were trimmed, shutters set, and soon there was dancing, cake, and cheer for everyone. Scrooge, seeing his younger self among the dancers, felt warmth stir in his heart. "A small kindness can make great happiness," he whispered, thinking of his own clerk. The spirit's light glowed brighter as Scrooge remembered what it felt like to be welcomed and included at Christmas. Another memory formed, a quiet room where a kind young woman spoke to Scrooge as a man in his prime. She told him gently that he had changed, loving gain more than love. She released him and walked away with a sad smile. Scrooge reached out but said nothing. Then the spirit showed a cozy home years later, the same woman now a happy mother welcoming her family at Christmas. Scrooge watched, realizing a different life might have been his. "Show me no more," he pleaded. The spirit's light still streamed, but Scrooge covered his face, learning how choices shape a heart. Scrooge awoke again at 1. This time his room bloomed into green boughs, bright berries, and a roaring fire. Upon a throne of food sat the jolly spirit of Christmas present, wearing a wreath of holly. "Come in and know me better," it said kindly. Touching its robe, Scrooge and the spirit stepped into Christmas morning streets, where people laughed, shoveled snow, and carried dinners to bake. The air was smoky and cold, but joy warmed everyone's faces. The spirit sprinkled gentle drops from its torch, turning squabbles into smiles, reminding Scrooge that kindness sweetens even simple meals. They visited Bob Cratchit's small home. Mrs. Cratchit tied ribbons and set the table. Children hurried in with pink cheeks, laughing about the delicious goose. Bob arrived with Tiny Tim on his shoulder, a gentle boy who needed a crutch, but whose smile shone like a candle. They ate their simple feast with thanks and joy, and Tiny Tim said, "God bless us, everyone." Scrooge felt a new worry and asked if Tiny Tim would live. The spirit grew serious and showed a shadow of an empty stool and a crutch without an owner, unless the future changed. The spirit carried Scrooge far, to miners singing, to sailors at sea, and to Scrooge's nephew's cheerful party. There were silly games, music, and bursts of laughter. They even played a guessing game where the answer was Uncle Scrooge, which made them laugh kindly and raise a toast to him anyway. Scrooge, unseen among them, felt lighter than he had in years. As the night wore on, the spirit grew older. From its robe appeared 2 poor children named Want and Ignorance. "Beware them both," the spirit warned, but most of all, the boy Ignorance. Midnight struck, and a hooded phantom glided toward Scrooge, the spirit of Christmas yet to come. Silent and solemn, it pointed with a single hand. In busy streets, business folk spoke lightly of someone's death. No one seemed to care. In a dark shop, rough people traded a dead man's bed curtains and clothes for coins. Scrooge shivered, understanding the warning. A life without kindness leaves no mourners. "Spirit," he whispered, "show me tenderness linked to a death." The phantom held still, and the scenes began to change again. They stood by a poor home where a worried couple learned that a harsh creditor had died, and they felt a guilty relief. Then, in a quiet room, Scrooge saw the Cratchits after Tiny Tim's passing. So gentle, so brave, and so sad. Bob spoke softly of Tim's patience and love, and the family promised to remember his kindness and keep peace among themselves. Scrooge's eyes filled. "Tell me," he begged the phantom, "who was the man that died alone?" The spirit made no sound, only pointed onward. Through iron gates they entered a churchyard overgrown with weeds. The phantom pointed to a neglected stone. Scrooge crept closer and read the name, his own. "Am I the man who lay alone?" he cried. He clutched the spirit's robe. "Good spirit, I am not the man I was. I will honor Christmas in my heart and keep it all the year. Tell me, I may change these shadows." The dark figure wavered, shrinking and shrinking, until it became a bedpost. Scrooge found himself in his own room, the morning bells ringing bright. Laughing and crying with joy, Scrooge opened his window. It was Christmas Day. He sent a great turkey to the Cratchits anonymously and went out smiling at everyone he met. He greeted one of the kind gentlemen from the day before and promised a generous gift for people in need. Then, with a brave knock, he visited his nephew and niece, who welcomed him warmly to dinner. Scrooge felt a new lightness. Kindness was a door opening all around him, and he gladly stepped through. At work the next morning, Scrooge waited for Bob Cratchit. When Bob arrived a bit late, Scrooge startled him, then broke into a merry promise to raise his pay and help his family. From that day on, Scrooge kept Christmas in his heart all year. He became a steady friend to the Cratchits, and to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was like a second father. The lesson is gentle and clear. Caring for people matters more than coins, and it's never too late to choose kindness. And that was the story of A Christmas Carol. What did you think of the story and the lesson? Share your comments below and subscribe for new stories daily.